What's going on, guys? It's Char here, back with another Charred Takes. Now, we're not doing anything super abstract like talking about multiplayer or creating a local scene. We're getting back to the basics here with another Charred Take. Maybe it's cooking, maybe it's charred. Let's get into it. So, I've been playing a lot of the two recent heroes lately, Winter Soldier and Falcon. I've been having so much fun with a ton of them. Falcon, I've been playing a ton in leadership. Winter Soldier, I've been doing aggression. I've been doing leadership as well. Also, Falcon was mainly protection. I think I said leadership on accident. Regardless, they've been a ton of fun and a really fun breath of fresh air. I've just really enjoyed them both a lot. That being said, there was two new team up cards that were introduced with these two newest hero releases, and I think one of them has the onus, the gravitas. One of them has like kind of the ability to be the best team up card in the game. If you can't tell which one I'm talking about by both the title and even the thumbnail that has the card in it, I think the video title is going to be best team up card game as a joke to Winter Widow Soldier Spy. I think that's such a really fun team up card name. Also, it helps that it's really strong and fun as well. So let's get into it. Before we get into it proper, remember, Charred Takes, this is only my opinion, of course. Feel free to disagree and leave your opinion in the comment section down below. A couple of my other Charred Takes can kind of like not really even be considered hot takes. A lot of the comments seem to agree with me. This one, I'm sure there's going to be a ton of disagreement, and I'm totally open to it. I don't play every single team up card, and I'm also not the most familiar with every single hero in the game. So if you guys have an argument for why you think another team up card is better, and also there's probably a ton of recency bias in this, I'm not going to like discount that. I've just been having a ton of fun playing this team up card. So as always, leave your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Was I cooking or was my take charred? Let's talk about this. So we're going to go to a split screen view here real quick. So, we are on the wrong side of the split screen. There we go. Cool. So, we have Marvel CDB up here. So, essentially what we're talking about today is we're just going to do a really brief look through the team up cards in the game, kind of see how they evolved, and why I think Winter Widow Soldier Spy is the best team up card in the game. So I went here on Marvel CDB. If you guys don't know how to search specifically, if you go to the cards thing and then you go to the advanced search, there's different ways you can search here. All I did was do, oh, this is the wrong one. This is the preparation one. All I did was do X, which I think stands for, what's it called? Text in the card, and I put team up so we can find every single team up card in the game, and then I sorted it by release date so we can kind of see how the team up cards evolved as the game went along. So we're starting here with the first one. We've got Swarm Tactics here. So it's a one-cost basic event. The team up is Ant-Man and Wasp, so they both must be on the table, and they both must be on the hero side if it's two identities. If it's not two identities, then it has to be like the Ant-Man hero and the Wasp ally, or it has to be the Wasp ally and the Wasp hero and the Ant-Man ally. As a team up, max 1 per deck. Change to your other hero form. Ready your hero. So when you look at this team up card, you can tell this is a really early iteration of it. So a one-cost event to ready your hero is pretty good. This is much before Limitless Stamina was in the game. You also have the ability to change to your other hero form. These are all really good things. Maybe you could even argue it's decent in Wasp because she doesn't have like a resize or anything to really switch her forms that rapidly like Ant-Man does. But I would say that this is a symptom of a lot of these team up card designs where they really only design the team up with one of them in mind. So Ant-Man loves flipping between his multiple forms when he has his helmet out because he's able to like heal 2 health or like deal damage. I forgot specifically what his helmet does, but he gets a ton of value off of swapping forms multiple times in a turn, whereas Wasp just doesn't get that. Like if you have kickers on maybe like a it's not running interference, but like perseverance or anything, if you're playing protection, or the ones that like when you switch between forms, you can play the one cost events that are super, resource efficient. Like sure, I could see it. Already isn't bad, but like Wasp doesn't super care about changing her hero form, so it ends up feeling like this card that is good. Specifically in Ant-Man, if you want to play down your Wasp ally, this is a really good inclusion for you because it is a one cost ready. It gets you that buff off his helmet and whatnot. It's just in Wasp, it just isn't that great. Like only one person is really benefiting from the team up. It's like kind of the bottom line that I'm trying to get at here. If we move forward to something like Order and Chaos, this is one where it's Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch team up, max 1 per deck, one cost event. I think this one has this one is worse, but for like in a different way. So as a hero interrupt, whenever a treachery card is revealed from the encounter deck, cancel to when revealed effects and deal 2 damage for a villain. And you might be like, what are you talking about? I mean, this is a treachery cancel, it deals 2 damage. You just have to think about like how these heroes want to actually play. How often is Quicksilver wanting to leave cards in his hand? Yes, he could draw into it and then spend the resource on the enemy phase to cancel a treachery, but it's only a treachery cancel. It's only the when reveals. And I'm not saying this effect is bad, but this doesn't really help either of them further their game plan. It gives them another option, but is it an option they really need? That's kind of what it comes down to here. I think this art's pretty fun, but it's just one of those things where they both have to be in hero mode, or Quicksilver has to have the Scarlet Witch ally on the board, which isn't really something she wants to do. Scarlet Witch has to have the Quicksilver ally on the board, which again, I don't really think is something she wants to do. And it's just like all this setup for like a when revealed treachery cancel and dealing 2 damage. It's just not something that like furthers their game plans. When we get here next to Flora and Fauna from Galaxy's Most Wanted, I think this is the first one that I think is like a pretty decent team up card here. So it's a 1-cost event. It's Team Up Groot and Rocket Raccoon. You place 2 growth counters on Groot to a maximum of 10 and ready him, or place 2 charge counters on Rocket Raccoon and ready that upgrade. So, what's it called? The thing about this that makes it so good is because sometimes there's heroes in this game where their hero mode and their alter ego are the same name, and Rocket and Groot both fit the bill for that. So the thing about this team up card is if you're playing in a 2-player game, both of them don't actually have to be in hero mode. Obviously the person who plays it has to use the hero action, but they don't actually have to both be in hero mode to get the kind of usage out of this card, which means this card is almost always online. There's no like finagling, like, oh, I'll hold an action in multiplayer while you have to flip up, or if they can't flip up that turn, it's like a dead card in your hand. This is basically 100% of the time online, and it's a pretty good card for both of them. So when we look at this, even if I'm Groot, I don't have to only use the Groot effect here. So you place, as a hero action, you can either place 2 growth counters on Groot, or you can place 2 charge counters on a Rocket Raccoon upgrade and ready that upgrade. This is really cool, especially if you want to call it out of turn. You can get like the big, overkill rocket launcher that Rocket has that deals like 4 damage or whatever. I don't know if that's piercing or overkill, I forget. And you can give him 2 extra activations on that, which is super good, and it readies it. So you can deal 4, you can give it 2 counters, ready it up, and then do 4 again. It's really good for Rocket. Groot getting 2 growth counters is also good. I just think that if you are like, trying to go for a win and for like consistent wins, putting those charge counters on the Rocket Raccoon upgrade is probably the better effect on this card. And so even though I think this one's really good, there's a ton of usability here and it doesn't run into that weird hero issue, I still think at the bottom line of it, Rocket would love to play this card playing with Groot. I don't think Groot super cares about playing this card when playing with Rocket. Not saying he doesn't like the growth counters. He does like growth counters. I just think it's still one of those really lopsided team up cards. Move on to this one. This one's a same thing because a lot of the Guardians don't have really alter egos. I guess Peter Quill and Star-Lord does. This is a similar one where team up Gamora and Nebula. They are both Gamora and Nebula on both sides of their hero cards. As a hero action, draw 3 cards. So this is another one where it only affects the person who plays it, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, and it's just draw 3 cards. So if you think about this like compared to like other cards in the game, this is like Pot of Greed from Yu-Gi-Oh! The whole reason you play it is because you just want to see more cards in your deck, but then it makes a question like, why not just replace this slot with a card you actually want to play, so it's something that's always alive in your hand. Even if I think you have a lot more of a consideration to play this when you're playing like in 2-player, when there's Gamora always on the field. But in solo, this just doesn't make a ton of sense. I'm also looking from a solo perspective on this where, yes, it can help you dig for more cards and more consistent cards, but also it could just be a card you want to play. Maybe it's something like, I don't know, what's 1-cost things like Recuperation Room or something like that ones that heal you when you go alter ego because you're flipping down, maybe you're confusing and stuff. Like there are other cards that could come out that might be better in this slot than Daughter of Thanos. It's solo specifically. I think in multiplayer this one's pretty good. It's not anything flashy. It gets you an extra card in your hand. You do have to spend the resource, but it's not bad. It's not bad. We're continuing on here. So this is one where I think they had an idea going here, but this is another one where this is really, 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 it's not only good for one of them, but they also have to keep in mind how these heroes actually play the game. So you look at 2 Against the World. I love this one, right? So it's a hero action. You search your deck for a tech upgrade and put it into play. Shuffle your deck, then ready Iron Man and War Machine. I mean, this is solid, right? You're basically tutoring from your deck a tech upgrade. Usually something that's probably 3 cost, I would assume, and it readies both you and Iron Man. This is decent, right? The problem is when Iron Man would mainly want to play this, or when War Machine wants to play this, War Machine wants to flip up, stay up, and then flip down over and over, right? Like he likes flipping up, flipping down so he can get his ammo counters refreshed. This is a decent card for him. He's usually in hero form, maybe turn 2, turn 3. Iron Man is probably only in hero mode turn 3. So if you're playing War Machine and Iron Man on the same table in multiplayer, you're gonna want to play this card, right? 3 cost isn't nothing. This is probably the only thing you're playing this turn, so it's essentially the cost of the upgrade. It's just not in your hand. And a ready is decent, but War Machine has like 1 thwart 2 attack, and then Iron Man has like 2 thwart 1 attack. So the readies early on in the game don't do a ton for them. The upgrade is really good, especially because Iron Man, if he plays it, he can find like his arc reactor. That being said, he doesn't want to flip up early because even if he gets that extra tech card and he spends his whole hand playing, 2 other upgrades, he's flipping up with what, a 4 hand size. It's one of those that in practice or in theory seems really good and fun, and I've tried to make it work to varying degrees of success. Another thing to consider is that their identity specific minions are pretty expensive. So War Machine in solo specifically finds himself playing this a lot more, but it's still tough because I think the Iron Man ally costs 3 as well. He does tutor an upgrade to your hand, from what I remember playing War Machine. But Iron Man, the roadie ally in Iron Man, is 4 costs. You are never playing that down in your first pass. You are getting every single upgrade on the board. So it just turns into a team card that has a really good idea. It just doesn't really work that well in execution, at least in my execution. Here we come to maybe the most infamous team-up card in the game. Maybe the most, what's it called? The worst team-up card in the game. Some might say Young Love. It's a 1-cost event. It's Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales, so both of them have to be an alter ego. At alter ego action, heal 3 damage each from Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales. There are so many things wrong with this card, I think. Miles loves flipping down. He has free flips with his double life. So, okay, 1 for 3 is like decent, right? Like you can heal 3 damage from your identity. Except Miles always gets a ton of tough status cards, and he has a lot of this economy to play these allies. So his health can drop, and it can go low, but it doesn't ever usually go that low. Gwen Stacy could see a bigger, use for this. A lot of her things are based on like readying and using responses in the enemy phase, so she can take some damage. Some damage can fall through, and it's pretty good from her. The problem is it doesn't heal her in hero mode, where she wants to stay basically the whole game and get her things off her like web bracelets and whatnot. She has to go alter ego. Again, like we said, Miles has really easy to access to alter ego with his double life, but Gwen doesn't. When she flips down, she is down for the turn. And is this really worth a slot in your deck, in both players' decks, or maybe in one player's deck, where you're going to force the Gwen Stacy to flip down? You're going to get a ton of threat on the main just so you can heal 3 damage for 2 effective cost. I just don't see how this is worth it. If you are in a really weird Gwen deck and you're sitting down at a table to really try and create an idea to make this work, I'm not a fan of this card. I think it's really hard to use. I think it is fun to use when you're using an ally. Maybe you're like Voltroning an ally or something. So maybe Gwen Stacy is using Miles Morales' basic ally, or what's it called? Miles Morales is using the Gwen Stacy basic ally, and maybe you want to like Voltron them and keep them alive. But when Gwen Stacy leaves play, you also get a card, so keeping her alive doesn't super make sense. There's just so many things that are weird with this card that I'm just not a fan. So then it had been, I guess, not a while until the next team-up card. It was only the next expansion. We got Shadow and Steel. This is from Mutant Genesis here. So this is another one where I think falls under the line of, this is pretty decent for one of the heroes on this team-up card, but it is just not great for the other. So it's a 2-cost attack defense event, which, I mean, both of those traits are pretty decent. Hero Interrupt, attack and defense. It can be discounted by multiple things. Grab with Jocasta. When an enemy attacks, prevent all damage from that attack and deal 4 damage to the attacking enemy. So this is pretty decent. in actually, I don't even know if I'd say it's decent in either of them. So Shadowcat has a thing where she has her different forms where she can't take any damage, and then Colossus's whole thing is about like getting tough statuses, and basically tough, unless they have piercing, doesn't do any damage. So when you have something like this where it says when an enemy attacks, prevent all that damage. So if Shadowcat's on the wrong side or something for some reason, then you can play this, get that effect to prevent all damage, and deal 4. 2 for 4 is pretty decent. There's a way to discount like defense events and whatnot. There's ways, there's multiple ways to get these to go off. But then why wouldn't you just be in like I'm thinking of Vision, like Phase and Intangible. Why wouldn't you just already be in the no damage mode when the villain phase is coming out? In a similar vein, Colossus doesn't need to worry about taking damage. He almost always has a tough status card for him. And so spending 2, he is a 4-hand hero. So it's a 2-cost card. So you have this card plus 2 other resources. Spending 3 out of your 4 cards in hand, not counting any upgrades or anything, to just save a tough and deal 4 damage back, just really is not worth it at all. I think he has so many better cards that he'd rather be spending and playing. I think Colossus is some of the best identity specific cards in the game. All of them are just like super solid for the most part. They really help the identity of what the character is trying to do, and nerfing your economy to a point where you just have nothing to play just doesn't feel very good. Moving on here to Psychic Rapport, this one's pretty interesting. So we have here, it's a hero action to ready Cyclops and Phoenix. Okay, 2-cost event to ready them both. That's not terrible. It's only in their hero forms only. As you see, we're going back, a couple of these with the Rocket and Groot and Gamora and Nebula. It didn't really matter what hero and alter ego side, so they had a lot of versatility, right? But then you go here, this is hero mode only, alter ego mode only, hero mode only, and then we have another hero mode only here to ready Cyclops and Phoenix. So I would say Cyclops doesn't really mind the ready. I'd say the ready's a lot better on Phoenix, especially if you're thwarting for 3, or if you're unleashed, you're going to attack for 3. Sure, that's like decent. Then you can choose to either return a Cyclops card from your discard pile to your hand, or place 2 counters on the Phoenix source. So I do like kind of the idea of some of the later team up cards where maybe you are Cyclops and you really need this ready because you use a full blast and you want to thwart or something, but you don't really need a Cyclops card in your hand right now. It's pretty good for finding his tactics and putting them on, especially if you need to play like a Ricochet beam or something, or you just need like a target for a full blast. Well, actually, you would have to do this after you already full blast something because it would have exhausted you. But regardless of what I'm saying, I guess you could have just normally attacked or thwarted beforehand. Grab a tactic back and then maybe full blast something, overkill, piercing. It's not bad. Or place 2 counters on the Phoenix Force. This is also pretty good. It can stop Phoenix from maybe unleashing earlier than she wants to, or give her some more economy. Like, this is a decent card, but the problem is this really the card we want in the decks? When we look at Cyclops, he's all about allies. He's all about ways of like, tempo plays and getting these allies on the board and ally interplay effects. Does he super care about already? Grabbing the card is good, and it's any Cyclops card, so whatever you need is good. But you're also spending 2 resources out of your hand, so assuming you have no doubles, it's a 5-card hand. So you're spending 1, 2, 3. Even if you have a 6-card hand, you have like 3 cards left to play the last one. Again, you can do some cool stuff with that. The problem is, like, his highest cost card is like his Phoenix ally, but then if he can't play that because this is a team up card because Phoenix already has to be on the board, so then it'd be like a full blast or something, or maybe Tactical Genius. These are good cards, don't get me wrong. And then Phoenix specifically, I think she gets a lot more off of the ready, and also the power counters are pretty good for her, but I just don't think that like either of these effects super lean into what the hero wants to do, and it's not really worth the cost of admission. It feels like there's no way to really discount this. It's a hero action. There's just a lot of like problems, quote unquote, with this card that even though I think it's good, it's not like amazing. Here we go to one that I think is actually pretty decent. So this one has been talked up a lot here, which is a Soul Sisters, Phoenix and Storm. Most people say that this is a pretty decent team up card. So if we compare this to Psychic Rapport, which is a 2-cost ready, this is a 1-cost ready for readying Phoenix and Storm. So Phoenix gets 2 team-up cards, which, it's the only hero who gets 2, but okay. Heal 2 damage from each of them. So this is pretty decent if you are playing one of the two heroes and you have the ally on the board, because there's like a decent Phoenix ally in the game now, and there's also a good Storm basic ally in the game. So this is just a way to like ready your identity and keep them activating. It's really good and really efficient in that way. Also getting to heal 2 damage, especially if you're using the ally version of them. This is pretty good. So I think like for a solo specific consideration, or like you have this deck that you're built to like not even Voltron in them, but just to get value out of them, this is a pretty decent card. Unlike Cyclops, I think Storm gets a bit more out of her ready. I don't necessarily know why. I know she has like a card in her kit or something I'm thinking of, but just from my own experience when I play with Storm and as Storm, I find a lot more, what's it called? I find a lot more use out of Storm's ready than Cyclops, maybe because Cyclops has so many allies that do everything for him. Storm, the ready just feels more impactful for her, and the healing 2 damage is fine. It stops you from having to flip down. I like this one. I still don't think it would even be in consideration for one of the best, though. Here we go to another one. So we have the fastball special here. It is a team up, maximum per deck, and it's a hero action attack. So we do have the attack trait on this. It is an aerial thing too, so it can maybe be like discounted in some way. Deal X damage to an enemy, where X is the total attack of Colossus and Wolverine. This attack gains overkill and piercing. So on the other end of kind of like Colossus' other team card, I think that this one is probably better than Shadow and Steel, I'll be honest. So we deal X damage to an enemy, where X getting overkill and piercing on a 1-cost event is really good, especially because Colossus has like 2 up to 3 attack, and then Wolverine I think can get up to 3 attack, so you could do like 1 for 4 overkill and piercing, up to 1 for 6, which isn't, it's not bad. In terms of Colossus, it's a pretty good low cost event for him, in terms of like it's not gonna use his entire hand. 1 for 6 is like decent damage, and then for Wolverine, it's just another attack. He can expend his claws on it, or he can just do a normal spend for it. I think this is a card that's like really inoffensive and pretty good. 1 for 4 overkill piercing. Again, if you're in 2 players, pretty good. If we look back on solo, I think the value of this card drops pretty dramatically. You have to play Colossus in aggression to play this card, which he would probably, I don't think Colossus is playing the Wolverine ally anyways, and then for Wolverine specifically, he has a lot easier time in solo playing this card, because you can use a Colossus ally who is basic, and also he gets reduced if you're an X-Men, so he has a lot easier time using this card in general. So again, in that solo considerations, is still good for Colossus in multiplayer settings, but for solo specifically, it's just not something you run, especially because Wolverine is not his signature ally, and Colossus isn't Wolverine's signature ally, but he does have a much easier access to Colossus. Then we're moving on here. We've got Beauty and the Thief. This is another one that I think is pretty inoffensive. So we have Team Up, Gambit, and Rogue. I would say like for the most part, Rogue I think likes to stay in hero mode, but Gambit likes to flip. Depending on the build, he likes to use his Thief's Extraordinaire ability, get some thwart off the main, maybe thwart a little bit more off the Thieves Guild and whatnot, and draw some cards. So Gambit, this might be a bit weird on there, but this is just a really efficient team up event. Deal 4 damage to an enemy and remove 4 threat from a scheme. That's it. Attack, thwart, traded. The problem is, like, because it's attack and thwart, if you get stunned or confused, it can be hard to use. Again, it's just one of those things where Gambit can buff this damage up to like deal 7 damage and then remove 4 threat, which is really good for him. For Rogue, it's like she probably has better cards she wants to be spending her turn for. Dealing 4 damage and removing 4 threat is good, but it's one of those things that doesn't super advance their game plan or their unique hook. So they just gave him an all-purpose event, and because they're like married, dating, whatnot, so it's decent. Don't have a ton to say here. Then we're moving on to Frenemies here. It's a 1-cost team-up event. Thwart. Deal 1 damage to each Cable and Deadpool. Remove 3 threat from a scheme. Remove 3 threat from a different scheme. I think this is a really efficient thwarting event, but it does sort of run into the same thing as the last one, where it's just a really efficient event. You're getting a lot of threat off the board, but does this really advance what either of them wants to do? Let's say, like, if it's a side scheme, it removes 3 more threat for Cable, or like, if there's an acceleration icon, this removes 3 more threat from the main scheme. Like, there's ways that they could tie into their identities to make this more worth playing. For this one, you're spending 2 resources and taking 2 damage total to remove 6 threat. It's pretty good. It just doesn't fit their identity or what they're super trying to do. We've got Soaring Hearts here with Aerial and Psionics. I really like the traits on this card. First of all, Angel can get some discounts and kickers off of it, and so can Psylocke with like the power of the mind, paying for psionic cards. So as a hero action, you search your discard pile for an identity specific event and add it to your hand, then you ready Angel and Psylocke. So I would say this one's pretty decent in my opinion. You look for any sort of identity specific event because these guys have so many built in like kind of like resource generators where they play a lot of them, or they can discount this in multiple ways. Actually finding that identity specific event in your discard, if you get this later on in a deck pass, can be pretty good for resetting something or doing something twice that you want to do. That being said, if you open this card early, it feels really dead because it doesn't search like deck and discard. It's only cards you've discarded. And the ready for Angel and Psylocke, they actually have pretty good activating stats, so I think this makes sense. Yeah, there are similar effects like this. This is like really similar to what's it called? This is really similar to kind of the Psychic Rapport one, but the big difference here for this is that I feel like these heroes, one, don't get as much off the readies as Angel and Psylocke do, and two, there's no traits here to help them discount it. This having both Aerial and Psionic is really good, and it's a really good consideration for why something like this is, okay, they're kind of like learning as they go a little bit on what do I want these team-up cards to look like. Unlikely Duo is the next one here, so we've got Teamup, Jubilee, in Wolverine, max 1 per deck. Confuse an enemy, deal 4 damage to a confused enemy. So this one's decent. It is a attack event, so Wolverine can discount it. Jubilee, if she spends multiple resources for it, she can get a kicker off her sunglasses. This is fine. You confuse an enemy and deal 4 damage to a confused enemy. The problem I usually find with this card is, like, sure, you can hit this into the villain, and getting a confused and in solo specifically is pretty good. You can flip down and whatnot. If they're steady and stalwart, the second part of this attack kind of whiffs, and that's the main problem with it. It should, I think, honestly, it might have been too strong, but you could have just had a hero action, confuse an enemy, and then deal 4 damage to a confused enemy. Instead of saying that, you could be like, if there was some sort of like targeting rule in the game where deal 4 damage to that same enemy or something like that, where they don't actually have to be confused in order to take the damage. I feel like it makes the card better. I don't think Jubilee is really hurting for more events, nor do I think this is super good in Jubilee solo specifically, because you just, like, the Wolverine ally is like a nice to have, but it's not something you're always playing down. I think Wolverine is more likely to play his ally down, and then this is like a pretty decent card for him to flip down in solo, but I think this one's just okay. So now it had been a while. This was the most recent one in Jubilee. I guess it wasn't that soon. This is where we get into, I think, kind of the new era of they're really pushing team-up cards to fulfill a fantasy or do something that everyone wants to do essentially. So what we're looking at here is the team-up card Super Spies. This was in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and this card is excellent. I won't beat around the bush. If this is one of your shout-outs for the best team-up card, I wouldn't blame you. As a hero action, you place a total of 3 all-purpose counters and or threat tokens on S.H.I.E.L.D. supports or suit form upgrades. So this does kind of have that problem I was talking about, where this card is much better for one of the heroes than it is for the other. But it has all the positives and upsides. Maria Hill and Nick Fury don't have alter egos. On both sides of the hero card, they are Maria Hill and Nick Fury. So that's really good. This is always online, especially if you're playing with another hero. And they get the added bonus of both of their identity-specific allies are really good, and both of them almost always want to play them. They are extremely good cards in both of their decks. They help them get going, and so even playing this in a solo deck makes a ton of sense, mostly because it's such a good card. It's such a good team-up card, and also it is such a good ally that you almost always want to play when you get it down. Some of the newer identity-specific allies are really, really strong. That being said, the hero action to place 3 all-purpose counters on shield supports is definitely the omega bonkers part of this effect. If you're playing with a Nick Fury hero on the table and you're Maria Hill, even if you have to flip up to hero for that one turn, just putting 3 counters down just immediately skyrockets your economy. You can put it on the one that can generate resources, which can also help the Nick Fury ally because it generates it for a shield identity. You can put it onto 3 of your massive helicarriers. You can put it onto just anything, command teams. There's just so many things you can put this on, and it's super good. Nick Fury specifically, I'm saying that it's not as good for him, and I still do believe that. But it does help him give a 3 kind of. Oh, and then I think the problem is, like, I'm not actually sure on this ruling, so don't quote me on this. Plays a total of 3 all players counters and or threat tokens on shield supports and or Superman upgrades. You can also mix and match. Let's say like Nick Fury needed one here, then Maria needs 2, or Maria needs all 3 of them, or Nick needs 3. So like you can also split it up, which is super good, fun, and versatile. Something that you can also do is that what's it called? If Nick Fury really needs that 3 extra threat on his identity specific upgrade because he's going for a big attack that turn, or like his like spread blast or spray fire, whatever it's called, to do like 6 damage instead of 3. It's also there and also has that flexibility. If this is your favorite team card and the best one in your opinion, I would not blame you. I'm glazing it a lot right now too, but we'll move on to the next one. So, this one is also another example of just such a really good team of cards. So similar to the Nick Fury and Maria Hill one, this is the first team up that actually said Black Panther T'Challa and Black Panther / Shuri max 1 per deck. So this works on both sides of their hero card. So like obviously the person, like every other team of card, it's a hero action, so you have to be in hero mode to use it. That being said, it doesn't matter what side of the identity, if you're playing in 2 players or multiplayer, that the hero is on, you always have this online. And in a similar fashion, Black Panther loves the Shuri ally, super good for him, finds an upgrade. Also, Shuri loves the Black Panther ally. She loves T'Challa. He gets her extra activations off of her Black Panther upgrades. So you're already incentivized to play their allies down, and for playing their allies down, you just get a really good card here, which this just tutors and it gets past that like kind of soaring hearts team up card here, where it starts your deck and discard pile, which for Black Panther specifically, it's his only way to recur his upgrades that he discards, the original Black Panther, other than like Ancestral Knowledge, which you have to flip down for that. So this is just super good. You get any upgrade that you missed, you get to tutor one out of your deck early. Then you also get the Wakanda Forever effect on top of it for the original Black Panther. Super good. Even for Shuri, it's also good because you just get extra value. You get your things on the board. It's just a really well-designed card. And again, if this is your best, I would not blame you. If we're looking here to investigative journalism, I don't think there's a ton to say about this card. I think flavor-wise, this card is super fun. I love the art on it. Just the theming and everything's on point. In terms of how good it is, I don't think this one's very good. This one's another alter ego locked one, Cindy Moon and Peter Parker, so they both have to be alter ego. It's one of those that I think is a bit easier for Silk to play in solo specifically, because you almost always want the Peter ally on the board. Alter Ego interrupt when an enemy would scheme, you cancel the activation and confuse the enemy. This is a good effect. You cancel a scheme activation and they get confused. So it's essentially canceling 2 activations. Even in multiplayer, I could see this being pretty decent. It's just not worth doing. Silk likes being in hero mode. She likes using her tuck cards and interact with her mechanic. Going Alter Ego does help her do that, which is why I think it's pretty good for her. Peter, on the other hand, he likes going Alter Ego every once in a while to heal off that Aunt May and get that extra resource. It's just not something that either of them really needs or gets them going in any meaningful way, and for that reason, I don't think it's super great. Now we're getting to the 2 most recent ones. We've got Super Soldiers here, and I like this card. It does run into the same issue where they have to be in hero mode. It's Captain America and Winter Soldier as a hero action attack. Deal 6 damage to an enemy, give Captain America and Winter Soldier each a tough status. This is really good. 3 for 6 is already the going rate of Cap's signature event. He can play for it with his Super Soldier serums. Additionally, Winter Soldier can discount it with his arm, do 3 for 7, and getting 2 toughs on the board is essentially also canceling 2 activations for most villains. This is a really good and solid team-up card. It has a hero action attack. There's just ways you can buff the damage a little bit. This is solid. Finally, after 30 minutes, we are getting to the title of the video, Winter Widow Soldier Spy, and here I'm going to try and convince you why this is the best one. We've went through every single one in the game. Why is this the best team-up card in the game? So it is a 2-cost attack. Let me see if I can actually bring it up here really quick. Winter Soldier here. Let me actually bring up the art for it. So we're looking here. Oh, where is that team-up card? So If we're looking at this card here, it's a team up Black Widow Winter Soldier maximum protect hero action attack. Put a preparation upgrade from your discard pile into play and deal 4 damage to an enemy. So why do I think this card is so good? So there's a couple reasons why. But the biggest one has to deal with consistency, especially in solo. So if we're looking at this from Bucky's perspective, this is a solid card. His preparations of choice, he has the winter, I forgot it's actually the silent infiltration card, which is after you attack and defeat an enemy, discard this card, you ready your hero and confuse an enemy. Really good tempo card, really good play, but most of the time Bucky doesn't want to spend the 2 to put it down. It can feel kind of slow. He'd rather be playing in events. Maybe he'd rather be playing an ally. That's just not something he wants to do. So as a hero action attack, what does this do? It fixes that issue. So most of the time you're discarding these preparation cards. Either you're using them or you're just discarding them for resources. Boom, it puts it into play without any aspect considerations. Puts that into play. Super good. Then it also does another 4 damage. What does Bucky want to do? He wants to do damage and he wants to defeat minions. If you pay with this with your arm, it hits that magic like 5 damage threshold that a ton of minions in this game has. 4 is also a pretty decent threshold, but as the game's gotten older and as it's gone on, I found that 5 health minions are the most common overall, kind of like throughout the game. I don't know if that's actually true. It's just kind of like what it feels like as the game has gone on. So this does a couple things. It puts the preparation in play before dealing the damage. So if you actually wanted to activate, do something, put the preparation into play, the kind of silent infiltration, defeat the minion, thwart for 2, then proc the silent infiltration to ready and confuse. Maybe you get a flip down. It's just super versatile, and it's a card that's super worth building around. There have been decks in leadership specifically that recur the Black Widow ally turn after turn in order to be playing this over and over, because it's just such a really big tempo swing for him, and it's really, really good. This is without even considering the amount of preparations that can come into play from other aspects. This is from Bucky's perspective. For playing sort of like infiltration, kind of a justice build, it gets us a counterintelligence, which is a free flip down if we didn't have anything to kill off of silent infiltration for a confuse, or if they're steady or stalwart. In protection, there's not a ton, and I don't know if I'd ever really play Bucky in protection, but this isn't a bad card. When you would take any amount of damage, discard defensive stance, and prevent 3 of that damage, it turns kind of like a card that most people would kind of look over into a card like, hey, this is like decent, right? Like, we're preventing 3 damage. Bucky can be a bit squishy, sure. Then we have ready for a fight here, which is really good because it just puts it into play. It gets past the play cost. Maybe if you wanted to flip up. And again, I would say this is more of a Black Widow consideration than it is Bucky, in addition to defensive stance, because she likes protection a lot more than he does. And then also the one that I think steals the show for Bucky specifically, you can create some really ignorant looking loops with a rapid response in this card. Obviously, you're not looping the Black Widow ally. I wouldn't really, I guess loop is a bad term, but you could get some really, really high value plays if you think that like getting the silent infiltration back is strong. I think this is most probably even stronger with even a little bit of ally set up on the board. It just plays it for free from your discard pile. I've been kind of like fine tuning a leadership Bucky deck that like kind of is tuned around how I like to play the game in my play style. And anytime I'm able to play this card, I play it because it's just so good to get that rapid response down for free. It's just so versatile and so good. I will admit some of the caveats here where both of the heroes do have to be in hero form. That being said, Bucky doesn't really flip down that often from what I've played, and at least in my plays, where if I'm playing with another Black Widow on the table, or I'm doing the ally, of course, is in consideration, but I've been playing with the Black Widow at the table as well, and it's just a card that goes crazy for both of the decks. Black Widow usually likes to flip up and down every turn, especially in the protection ready for a fight build, so I can hold my action. And also, sorry, I don't know if I emphasized, this is an attack event, so he can play this off arm. So this essentially turns from a 2 cost to a 1 cost event. A 1 for, obviously it's not obviously a 1 cost event, but it gets discounted to a 1 cost. So you only have to spend 1 other card. You get that preparation in play. You get that 5 damage. Maybe you're ready. Maybe you're confused. Maybe a rapid response. Maybe you do like a, thwart a little bit more off the man. It's just, it does every single thing that Bucky wants to do wrapped up in 1 card. But it also does things that Black Widow wants to do. Black Widow has a ton of preparation cards in her deck. You have like the grappling hook, you have the attack acrobatics, you have the spider bites. This puts those into play. Also, Black Widow is kind of hurting for damage a little bit. Black Widow likes setting up all these traps and these preparations to kind of neuter the enemy phase for the villain. Um, and what this does is it gives her kind of a little bit of pushing power. She has a 2-for-4 attack event. It's not just her 3-for-6 damage, which is Dance of Death. She also has another attack event in her kit that isn't just aggression, isn't just an aggression, because she can be hurting for like damage to push an endgame. Also, it puts any of her preparations she wants into play. If you're playing that defense deck and you don't have a loop of practice planner ready for a fight, boom, you have that ready for a fight you need. If you need, like, you want some protection in the villain phase, get a grappling hook down. There's just so many options. There's so much versatility. And it's also really good from her. She loves playing around the preparations. She likes using her preparations, dealing a bit of chip damage here or there. I just think all in all, this is like kind of one of the perfect team up cards. Now, if you had a favorite that was kind of in some of the recent ones like Heart of the Panther, Super Soldiers, and you think it's stronger, trust me, I'm not going to super argue with it. I will engage in the comment section. The point of this video was supposed to be kind of like a retrospective, like how team up cards grew and evolved over the course of the game, and why I specifically think that this is the best team up card in the game. I would say I've been playing so much and getting rapid response off it, it's probably skewing my mind a little bit if that isn't just in, it's not like every aspect consideration. I've only been playing mainly one aspect with him. Obviously, if you play this card in something like aggression or something, there's not a ton of great preparations in that, so you're probably just getting Silent Infiltration, which is a good card, don't get me wrong. I just think this card is the best team-up card in the game, at least in this current moment, and I really do like the design that team-up cards have been going nowadays. I love the Super Soldier card. I think it's really good. Investigative Journalism, I love Heart of the Panthers, and Super Spies is absolutely crazy. But what do you guys think down below? That's the whole point of this. This is my Charred Take. So to wrap it up quite nicely here in a 40-minute video, which is crazy. Yeah, talking about the evolution of team-up cards and why I think this one is the best. I just think it kind of answers all the problems with team-up cards, other than being hero side specific. It does have that problem, but I think it works super well for both heroes. Oh wait, also I didn't even mention, Bucky. I didn't even mention the most important part. Sorry. Before we get into the ending here, Bucky's Black Widow ally actually finds this card for him. So if you get this card early, it fixes the second problem with team-up cards, especially in solo, where if you find the card before you find the ally, you can't ever do anything with it because it just feels really bad because you have to wait a whole deck pass to get the team-up card back. That's fine. You can just spend this card as a resource. When you play down the Black Widow ally, after you play Black Widow from your hand, you return an attack from your discard pile to your hand. So you play the Black Widow ally, you get the Super Spies back to your hand, and then you always have enough resources to play. Sorry, not the Super Spies. You get the Winter Widow Soldier Spy back to your hand because you have a 5-card hand. You spend 3 resources for the Black Widow. She hits the board. She puts the card back in your hand, so you have 2 cards left in your hand. You spend that last card in arm, and you can always play it and get a preparation down. It's super efficient and it works super well in hero mode. This is a good ally that you want to be playing because if you don't want to play the team up, it fetches any other attack event, so she's versatile in that way. So it fixed the team-up card problem in solo specifically, which I think is another really big boon for this team-up card in specific. Also, for the Black Widow hero specifically, what's it called? For the Black Widow hero specifically, she doesn't even have to pay for the Bucky ally in most points of the game. Please don't mind the art here. Reduce the cost to play Winter Soldier by each preparation card you control. So even though she still runs into that issue where if you draw the team-up card first, it's still a bit awkward because she gets so many preparations down so fast. You play the Bucky ally for free, and then you just get this really high value attack event that really bolsters your deck. You could kind of just keep Bucky up, or just like play around the fact that he might be down, or whenever you think the team-up card's coming back. She just has so many cool options in her deck in order to just like make use of this card as well, which I think is really cool and really fun. I don't know if I have much else to say about this card. I think it's awesome. I think it's really thematic and fun. I think like in a lot of ways, the problems with team-up cards it fixes. Now I'll go through it again. Even though it has that hero side requirement, both heroes have a really good time using this card, making use of it, and finding a ton of value from it. It helps them advance both of their game plans, where a Bucky wants to defeat minions, get value off of defeating minions. He can get his own preparation card to continually get that tempo value, get some thwart off, confusing and slowing down the villain. Black Widow gets damage that she needs. She also gets any preparation that she needs from her discard pile. That being said, and so I just think it's a really elegant solution. I think everything about it, the art, the name is super fun. Just like everything about it really culminates into what I think is like the best team up card in the game. Like I said, this take could be cooking, it could be charred, but you guys can let me know down in the comment section down below. This has been a fun kind of like retrospective going through the team up cards in the game, reviewing them and whatnot. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave a like down below if you did. This is a bit of a longer one. I didn't expect to be talking for like 45 minutes straight. This is Char. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Comment, subscribe, all of that. And let me know what you guys thought. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.